Green should be here.
Oh, that's right, green.
I'm gonna start, we can start with. Just gotta. There's green. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Kingston Tree Commission. Today is February 11th, and it's 5:01. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I'm the planning director for the City of Kingston. Before we start the meeting, I just want to go over a few quick ground rules. If you do have your cell phone, I just ask that you please silence it so that it does not interfere with the meeting. If you need to have any conversations outside of those that you are having with commission members, we ask that you do take them out of the room. The council chambers are available, as well as another conference room on the opposite side of the chambers. If you need the restrooms, they're out the door through the chambers. Men's would be to your left, women's to your right. If we do have an emergency, we do ask that you please do not use the elevator, use the stairs. If you need assistance, ask us and we will assist you. Other than that, I want to just advise everybody that this meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, and it is also being recorded. So we just ask that you respect that. And with that, I'm going to just go around the room and ask those at the table to introduce themselves. And I'll start with Amanda.
Amanda O'Neill, Tree Commission member. Elizabeth Collins, Tree Commission member and representative for the Memorial Tree Fund.
Candy Davis, Tree Commission member. Evan Kane, Tree Commission member.
Brett Bever, urban forester.
Okay. So we do have agendas on the table that are out there. The first item on the meeting's agenda is the approval of the January 15th, 2025 minutes. You should have all received a copy of them in the mail. Are there any questions, comments, changes that are needed? Okay, hearing none, I'm just going to ask for a motion to approve. Motion by Tubby. Is there a second? Evan? So there's a motion and a second. Any question? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Okay, opposed? None. Well, carried. Okay, so we're going to move on to tree reviews. Since we do have some individuals here, we're just going to modify the agenda. We're going to start with 80 Elmendorf Street. Jeannie is here along with the Reverend for the church. This is the warming center. The church on Elmendorf Street, the warrant also serves as the city's warming center. It's a corner lot, and the tree that we are going to be looking at is on the Trumper Avenue side. There are a couple of trees there, but it's just the one towards the rear of the church. The facility has been having some issues with the roots of this tree interfering with their sewer main. You can see it on the screen now. All of the utilities, I'm told, are run out, the services are run out of the church right at that rear corner. So not only is their sewer lateral there, but their water service is also underground there. They've had a plumber, Carl Bell has been to the site. I think the materials that were circulated included some film of the roots in the lines. I understand Carl has lined the sewer lateral at this point to an extent to where it is in the street, but it's still experiencing root issues beyond that in the cast iron section. So they are asking, for the tree, permission to remove the tree. They're also gonna, are you replacing the water line to, because you're putting a sprinkler system in?
Right, we have to put a piece, I don't know the name of the piece, it's a very big piece that goes, brings the water. It's part of the whole sprinkler system. So
Okay.
that's gonna have to be installed, the piece, the one piece itself costs like over $10,000.
Okay.
So I don't know the name of it offhand.
So we were talking before the meeting started, the tree is a relatively healthy tree. It does need pruning. And I had asked the question I was under the impression that the lateral no work had been done to the lateral at all. And that, they might be putting in a whole new lateral, which would lead me to ask if they could relocate, the lateral location, to avoid the tree roots, rather than, I think it goes pretty much probably under the tree directly or fairly close to the trunk of the tree, unfortunately. And that's not the case because my understanding from the Reverend is that it's already been lined as far as they can go. But there's a section, like I said, in the street that is still, that hasn't gotten lined because the roots are so badly interfering with that portion of it. And so they're gonna have to fix that too, but they wanna take the tree down to do it, so. I don't know if the commission members have any questions. One thing we did note, is that along the side of Trimper, the sidewalk is paved from basically to the curb. And normally, like you see on the opposite side of the street, there's what we call a tree lawn, which is an area between the curb and a sidewalk. That's a grass area. Because typically when we're taking down trees, we like to replant new ones to try and, continue a regrowth of the urban forest where, along the street where they've been removed. I think there's potential to plant a couple trees in this area. Obviously we would be, very cognizant of where all utilities are underground, as well as overhead utility lines, in terms of identifying the correct species. So one thing I would ask is that if the commission were to authorize the removal of the tree, you would have to, obviously cut the stump down to below grade and cover it over, and then maybe do some resetting of the sidewalk. That there's a little bluestone there, not much, but resetting of that to make it level so that it's a smooth, passable surface. But I was wondering if you would also be willing to open up some of that blacktop area and create some planting strips so that we could come through and plant a couple new trees, to replace the ones that are being taken down.
I don't see why not. I don't see why we can do that.
There's one thing I noticed is currently the blacktop covers all even on the top of the tree. From the other healthy tree from the trimper up to the dwarf. So is it possible to even, not only just to open certain area, but it's more like, just maybe to open up that area for.
So you're talking the tree closer to the corner?
Yes, and then also there's a tree on the Emerald side, like there are trees. Blacktop.
Okay, so that's a good point. I agree with you. What he's saying is that where you have other current street trees that we're not talking about taking down right now, there's blacktop that's been put up, pretty much right to the trunk. And so typically that's not really good practice in trying to promote the health of the tree. You want to remove some of the blacktop around the trunk of the tree to allow for it to get the rain and the nutrients that it needs. And you know, when you put the blacktop up, that's some of the reason why the roots kind of move around, because they're seeking out areas that are getting water so that they can, you know, and that's why they're stretching out underneath your blacktop surfaces and into your pipes that have cracks, because the roots sense that moisture and those nutrients. So what Evan is asking is that, you know, if we're opening up some other areas, if we can also open up around those other trees to at least, you know, help them, you know, survive for a few more years and give them a better opportunity for growth and health, good health.
We can do that.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a good idea. I mean, we're just gonna start one project at a time, but yes,
Yeah,
that could be like the second capital that we could go for. Because he's not looking to take down the other trees because.
yeah, no, right, right, but what Evan is just saying is that before we run into the same situation, let's give these guys a good, you know, good chance.
Right.
Okay.
And, that was done before you got the place,
Yeah, we got it like that.
so we'll just have to,
We don't do anything.
we can
outside.
fix that, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be after we get this problem, because
My goal
finances.
is to have the same, you see the little, the entrance of the church, that we have a little.
the
stone
pavers, yeah,
pavers. I'm thinking to do all the sidewalk like that.
that would be very
And
nice.
have the space that like, grass.
That's, yeah,
Grass.
right, yeah,
That's my project in the
Okay.
future that I wanna do that.
Because,
Because
yeah,
I don't like the whole thing is a blacktop.
yeah,
yeah,
And also it's too dangerous when it's stone, it's kind of little slippery,
yeah,
you know, so
I agree.
change a little bit.
Yeah, now the pavers would be nice, you know, because when you install them, you can install them so that they're pervious. They will allow, you know,
Yeah.
water to go through. You know, there's proper ways to, and I don't know, I don't have to tell you, but there's proper ways to install that so that they don't shift around with the freeze and thaw as well.
Like a big pine that is right in the corner, we do like a little, you know, little part, we put stones in there, so it looks good.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
well, that is like that now.
Yeah.
That's a big project.
That we're not touching, you know?
Yeah, yeah, we just asked for a little blacktop space, you know? Okay, all right. So, all right, I'll open the floor up for, any commission members to offer up any thoughts or questions?
Well, I was just thinking that it sounds like they have to do this project. I mean, they gotta get the line in. And if they have to cut the roots anyway, the tree isn't gonna make it in the long run. That's my thinking.
Yeah, my guess on where the location of the lines are is probably within 6 feet of the trunk. And it's, the amount of roots that would be cut in that process, it would be very surprising if the tree recovered from it. And it would also no longer be structurally stable on the one side, it would lose all its
Yes.
anchorage to the ground as well.
I mean, so it's a shame. It does look like a really tree, but if you have underground issues, that's, you know, you have to.
Okay.
It's 3 lines going, because of the sewer line, the water line, the gas line, all
So-
3 go on the same
And they're
spot.
all there, yeah. And if the idea is to plant another tree, I mean, it's not a mature tree, but at least the idea that you try to replace it, and they already have some trees there too, so.
Anybody else? Okay, so I will need some motions.
I propose a motion to remove the tree, based on the city's the process. And, like on condition of replanting, remove the black top of, some area.
Okay,
To plant a new tree. There's no power line above, right?
There's a power.
I thought there was a power line.
It goes right
Yes,
through,
power.
yeah.
Oh, actually,
Right.
right, but they,
It's between the 2 big branches.
Uh-huh.
right, that's the service connection
Yeah.
though, but not like running down the sidewalk parallel, yeah. It's their service connection.
So we want to replant the tree will be medium size or?
Why don't we just say that they can work with Brent, the urban forester,
Yeah.
to select an appropriate type, native, we're looking for native planting.
Somewhere where they can plant it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion, is there a second? Second by Amanda. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, carried, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get in touch with.
Yeah.
Understand.
In case you need to contact.
Yes. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're gonna go back now to 34 Van Buren Street. This is property damage. We were notified about this. It's a street tree that lost a significant limb in a storm event, damaged the neighbor's car. Brent went out, looked at the tree. The tree itself is not in the greatest of condition. But it was the neighbor's car that was damaged. The neighbor made the complaint of the property owner, so the commission needs to do a directive. Brent is recommending removal and replacement with an appropriate tree. A lot of wires in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the only tree on the block.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look too good.
Yeah, that stretch of Van Buren right there, it's really, really tight. Say it
It's
again.
very narrow, and it's a lot of apartments, so it's a lot of wires.
Right, exactly. And you can see a replacement pole has been put in. None of the wires have been attached to it. So the option to plant other trees would be limited to trees that don't grow taller than 10 feet. Then you need to clear 10 feet on the sidewalk side and 16 feet on the pavement side. But for the current tree, we can see on the left side of it, it's a lot of dead limbs still in it. The branch that fell and caused damage, that situation has already been navigated between the person whose car was damaged and the property owner. And then the final blow for it is that it's also a Norway maple.
And is there any room around it to kind of plant something on the other side of the sidewalk, like on the street?
The sidewalk strip is maybe like 2 feet wide. Yeah, tree lawn, excuse me.
Is it okay for them to keep, there's another tree right next to it, if you can see it from next to the.
Are you talking about that stump?
Yes, I think should they remove the stump?
Yeah, that stump should be removed as well.
Like, you can see it.
Oh, yeah, right
Next to the trash can.
next to the trash cans.
Okay, so that's a good point.
So that doesn't leave much planting around, so.
Is that on the corner?
It's about midway.
It seems like there could potentially be space on their property just behind the trash can, but I don't know, it's hard to say.
Let me
There
pull
is
it
a
up
bit
on-
of a setback from the house, but
Pull it up on Google
I
Maps.
think it's too close.
too close.
And there's no space for that.
And that window, normally people want something from,
And
both windows.
between the house, it has a tree already.
Oh, yeah, the sidewalk is really wide.
Yeah, just for view, every possible way to string the utility wire is, it's more of a demonstration site.
There's not much lawn on the east side.
Yeah,
Yeah, there just isn't a lot of
Fortunate. I
space.
mean, it looks like,
It's probably because I feel on the other side there is. lots
Maybe
of
this could be looked at for a
space.
sidewalk project down the
How
road.
about that other tree? Is that alive?
no, that's the one with
Is
the
there-
stump.
is there
That's the
enough?
one.
No, the one.
No,
the
the
one
blue
between the
blue
houses.
spruce behind it.
I don't,
That's-
is that still there? That's a 23, October 23 snapshot.
Cause that tree
That was
looks
dead.
If it's
that-
together there, it doesn't look too,
No, I think that tree is gone as well.
It's capture of October 23, yeah, it could be. Anyway, all right.
well, it sounds like it's a takedown.
All right, so we need a motion.
I propose a motion to remove the tree and without planting additional tree due to limitation based and the removal to based on the city's standard procedure.
Uh-huh,
Did you want this done?
and the stump.
Also with the remove another tree, just another like tree stump.
Sounds great.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Tubby? Any question on the motion and second? Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried. So now we're moving on to Lauren Park. This is a city park, but they're still subject to getting the authorization from the tree commission. This is near the tennis courts and pickleball courts. These are a row of a lot of scrub or non-native invasive type trees that if you look closely here, they're behind the fence, but they're still on city property. The fence is for the courts, so you can see some X's. There's some other photos that Brent took when he went over there that they're looking to remove these trees. They also, in addition to these, Brent went out today at the request of Jack Schoonmaker and went to the site. They're looking also to take out some cherry trees that are, where are they actually located?
They're on the opposite side of the parking lot where the compost drop off is. And their black cherry trees are native cherry trees, but they're in decline. Black cherry is also struggling with the black knot fungus that affects our ornamental cherries as well. It's 3 trees total for this side, and I marked them since it's really hard to get photos of trees this time of year. Tree number 1 is the one that extends over the parking lot area. That one is actually in the healthiest shape, but there is dieback starting from the top. Tree number 2, the really small middle one, it's kind of hard to see. That one is, maybe 40% dead from the top going down. And then tree number 3 has the more visible deadwood in it that is also, has extended over the parking lot as well. Jack Schoonmaker was able to get some quotes out, and the tree services, that's their entry point, is that parking lot to go and look at the tennis courts. And the 2 services he's had out so far had mentioned those being in decline, and a better deal, since they'd already be there doing the tennis court stuff, to move these at the same time.
Did Jack say anything about any plan to replant anything in the park area? Because it's a significant kind of number of trees
Yeah.
coming out,
Yeah.
even though there might be dead or scrub, I mean, it's still
Right.
gonna make an impact.
Oh, absolutely. So the ones that Sue was originally talking about that are along the tennis court, they were all dead or like over 70% dead. Black locust, white mulberry, and Norway maple. They're not doing any removals of living trees along the tennis court area, just removing the standing dead ones to eliminate the risk. That tennis court, they're turning into a pickleball area. They hadn't talked about replacement trees when it came to these new ones that they wanted us to review as of today. But tree commission certainly could say, like, if these native trees that, still have like living growth on them were to be removed, that it would be nice to have replacement trees put in and make that a stipulation towards the removal of these ones.
Does there appear to be, it's hard to tell with the snow.
Yeah.
It seems like the trees are pretty close to that fence. Now, maybe one of them's on the other side of the fence, and maybe that could be,
It's a little bit of optical illusion. That fence is maybe like 30 feet or 20 feet away from the compost bins that are at the bottom in the center.
okay.
And the trees are all within 3 feet of the compost bin.
Oh, okay. So there is room to
Yeah.
put some.
Yeah, that area, there's not really anything going on. They put the compost drop-off location there. Be a perfect spot to put in, a diverse row of trees. Can actually make it a prettier area for compost drop-off to happen, instead of, potentially, hazardous trees, overhead when people pull up to drop off their compost.
What sort of tree would you recommend here? Because there's no wires, so you could have a pretty tall tree, but on the other hand, it's in the city and close to the parking lot and,
Yeah.
Then you can like
You
a
gotta,
big
you gotta
over
remember, you still have the
something.
ball field there, you've got park uses right there, so, I mean, yeah, but you can put a substantial tree,
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least, yeah.
I mean, because if it's right by the parking lot, it'd be nice to have shade over your car too.
Yeah,
And I absolutely believe people currently use those trees for the shade during the summertime also. So it'd be nice to reestablish in a more intentional way trees along that area. I would probably guess by those tree placements that they volunteered
Yeah.
in that area and they
Yeah.
were planted, especially with black cherry. But yeah, you can do large, beautiful shade trees. It doesn't have to be small ornamentals.
Okay.
The one spot where there's not wires,
Okay.
let's put in big
Yeah,
trees.
so,
Yeah, so we can actually shade pavement.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, for like the healing effect, it would be good to add, like, to have like a policy to like, every parking should be shaded.
Yeah, absolutely. Parking
Would you
lots.
give them some help to choose an appropriate tree?
Absolutely, yeah, just for the tree commission's edification, all park projects that involve trees or any kind of like construction stuff, I'm involved with now too. The pickleball court stuff, I was there with them when they were doing the initial assessment. For the tree commission's interest, I'll also show, they gave me a copy of their plans for it.
So are they only doing pickleball, no fixing up of the tennis courts?
So the entirety of the tennis courts are going to,
Stay.
my understanding, be,
thinking you'd be used for both. It's
yeah,
like
be used for both. So this is the exact footprint of the previous, no more impermeable safe surfaces are being poured. The other surrounding trees in the area don't come close enough to worry about compaction or anything like that during the construction period. Right now, there's a grass strip between the two courts that's being replaced with a bioretention swale, and that swale will be planted out with native plants. It's the same planting specs that were used over at Dietz Stadium too, so in the top left corner, be two not tree form dogwoods, but more of the shrubby dogwoods, and then also a good native grass for infrequently wet, but sometimes flooded areas.
Well, it's lots of the same shrub form.
Yeah,
I can say 58 shrub of the same species.
I mean, this is like
It's
really
struck me
nice.
like this.
Lawrence Park is pretty rough. Last time I've been there.
yeah, this is gonna be the first big improvement project for Lauren Park. The gray area in between.
They've done the.
Oh, sorry, the solar.
Playground.
Yeah, the playground, the
So
solar.
they've done some,
Well, the tennis courts are terrible.
Yeah.
Because I play tennis, that's how I know that, but, and even the pickleball seems a little,
They made it work for the hot new trend of pickleball.
Yeah.
And they are also, where my cursor is right now in the middle, this gray area,
yeah.
is going to be a small arched bridge going over it to connect the two as well. No other plans for tree plantings around the pickleball designs though.
Yeah, I was saying like, when we did the guidelines, for the Green Line, we had a recommendation about like not doing like some monoculture, we see like, big engineering firm putting like 60 of the same shrub on the,
Yeah,
we just,
yeah.
and I feel like there's so much opportunity to create more biodiversity.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know, this is very limited, like 58 of the same shrub. It seems to me like,
It's a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's 58 for
Oh, yeah.
before. I'm just like, I mean,
Yeah, I
I know
agree.
it takes more time for the designer to add more species,
Mhm.
but it's part of the biodiversity. And just like, for me, it's a missed opportunity to create, you know, a little bit more
Yeah.
value.
A landscape designer did not choose those. It was copy and pasted by our engineering staff from Deed Stadium. So the opportunity to have like more diversity within that swale area is definitely possible. You know, this is not a bought and paid for plan for the swale design yet. Their main intention right now was to just kind of give some illustration to what's going to happen in this area, because they also want to get this tree work done before the end of March, when we get into the endangered bat nesting period of time, where especially dead trees that have cavities and that sort of thing are prime habitat for that.
So what would be the next step to see like what's happening?
I mean, as far as this project goes, that would be kind of separate from their permit for the tree removal stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just like to keep an eye because I feel like this is just like, put there now and it might just happen like this because it was there. You know?
I can find out, and I can send you an email, I can send everyone an email. Yeah. At this point, the tree commission and the conservation advisory council might end up fusing. Yeah, yeah, so that's the full scope. The trees on the western end, which are all either dead or severely declining, non-native species, and the 3 black cherries on the opposite side of the parking lot that are starting to be in decline.
Any questions? Okay, motion?
Make a motion to remove the dead trees along the fence line and allow 3 living black cherries to be removed with the expectation that at least 3 more, hopefully larger variety, will be planted in that area by the compost bins to provide shade to the parking lot.
And standard conditions.
Just a quick question, like, if we plant, like, if it isn't, let's say there are a new tree being planted in that location, whose responsibility to take care of?
The city.
of the city?
And also trees like that are removed from the fence can be also replanted on this other area. I don't know.
On the west side,
Yeah.
with all the scrub and everything, like a replanting area?
Yeah, just to make sure there's more than 3 trees, if we say like, you know, like the other removal should be also replanted wherever there is space.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think I missed it. Are you talking about on the compost side or the tennis court side?
The tennis court side.
Tennis court side, that area is just like all wooded.
Well, but I mean, like, if this tree were removed, there can be replanted on the other side where the compost is and maybe plant more trees.
Are you talking about taking a tree from there and putting it over?
No, I mean, like, if the trees are removed, like, you know.
So since trees are being removed to then replaced with other ones.
It might be nice for the neighbors too, because eventually it'll kind of take away some of the noise from the courts.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good point. Yeah, that could totally be done.
Just to kind of like, because there's an opportunity here, so.
Would they
Fencing
make
space.
natural fencing too?
Would the commission like to make that part of the
Yes.
resolution?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a motion that's been amended. Do we have a second? Kareem? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay. Now we want to move on to Arbor Day, or just we can quickly do the city permit letter that went around. Did you see that? Last month, we talked about sending a communication out to various vendors. We've identified several of them. Did you send the Excel spreadsheet?
Believe so, yeah.
Okay. With, there was an Excel spreadsheet, so those are the ones we have identified. If you take a look at that and you see others, please let us know. there's a lot of them that, are just out and about. You kind of see a truck and, yeah, okay.
There's quite a few, like 2 people in a truck operations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you see others that we are missing, please let us know. And we'll certainly send this out, but we want to do this kind of quickly. So if there's no questions on the communication as it's written, we'll get that out tomorrow. I'm volunteering Brent already for that.
I think it's a great idea, that it'll take away some of the confusion about permits.
Well, it's good to get this out, get it recorded who it went to, so that they, it should be done on an annual basis.
Yeah.
I was just
you know,
thinking the same thing, to keep reminding.
I really think, just reinforce it every year, is a good practice. And if we kind of think about it at the beginning of every year, that's a good thing to just kind of start the year off with, just friendly reminder, here you go.
Sometimes
but
there's
this is
new
the
owners
first
or
year.
new managers of place that
Right.
might not be aware of it.
Yep, and there's new companies that are popping up left and right, okay, so we will do that. And we'll make sure we put it on our calendar annually.
So that means like, so it's the responsibility of the owner, so the owner will be like fine, and so it's just to let the tree pruning and removal company to know about this, but they wouldn't be at fault if they do it without a
Correct.
permit.
Yeah.
It's just for them to know.
Yeah, it's just another point of contact. We have the residents come in and say, we didn't know about it. At the very least, maybe the company they hire will then be able to say, and also then,
Yeah,
when we have it on record, what company removed the trees, then we can also say, we sent you a letter, and we also send this letter to you every year.
yeah. There are some companies out there that, where people call us and say, my company said I need to get in touch with you first. So like Limber is really very good about that. Dave Hughes is really, there are those companies out there, they know now. And they're very good about telling the people, I can't do this until you get a permit from the city or get approved by the city. So, we know that it's out, we know word's out there, so.
That's good.
Okay, so we'll work on that. Then, Arbor Day, Amanda.
Okay, so, I spoke to John a few times, and, instead of coming to this meeting, because he has some, questions out to some of the other science teachers, because this year he, is doing more of the course recovery work than having regular science classes, so he's going to really rely on some of his department, members to try to help with some ideas. So he has intent to come and speak about what we're gonna be doing at the March meeting. And if he couldn't, I did suggest that, we could bring him in via Zoom. He couldn't be here.
Okay.
So it's not good pressure about that. So he is reaching out to the agricultural science teachers, which isn't really like, a Regents-based course or an AP level course. It's like that third science requirement. But they do some really great projects, and we're gonna see what kind of things can be showcased, if there's any student work, because I said that we really like to be able to showcase artwork, presentations, performances. Even they have the 3 sections. Karina was over at one point helping him a little bit last year. So in the back of the school where the main entrance is now, on the security side, they have a big area where they have like gardens and flowers and so on. And on the left side, they have some fruit trees and some textural garden flowers and everything. And then in the back where people park, that's where they have a lot of tree planting, which they're still moving on with. Over where they have the fruit trees, like the little orchard, as he put it, they are in the process this year of putting in a little memorial pond in memory of a chemistry teacher that just sadly passed over there. So we kind of thought that we could kind of meld these two things together. So he wanted you to be involved. He was very excited about you being hired. And then the idea was to add another fruit tree.
Sure.
And he didn't feel confident to give me the full list of what they already had over there. He said because they're so small, they're not producing fruit, so he doesn't know freely what they are. So he wanted to like kind of talk to you
Yeah,
about what was there and maybe what we could plant for Arbor Day. That would be, a great addition for a fruit tree.
yeah. Fruit trees work for an Arbor Day planting equal to shade trees.
Yeah,
for-
we've planted an apple tree right here.
Yeah, there is a very fun way that immediately comes to my mind of tying together, both, a fruit tree, native trees and stuff, and a tree that works really well around a pond area.
Which one?
Pawpaw, Yeah.
Oh,
pawpaw,
oh.
yeah.
I was thinking about like the kaki tree,
Say it again.
the kaki tree. Like, I have some, it's also like a native fruit tree that's beautiful. It's kind of big because.
Diosporos kaki?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, persimmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one also, it's like.
Caught me off guard with the scientific naming. Great.
What that?
You caught me off guard with the scientific name. But yeah, our native American persimmon is also, and that one's pretty cool because that can grow tall as a shade tree as well.
And white fruit in the, also like, when you come back in the almost early, late fall, this is where the fruit is the best, which is a problem for most of the tree, because the harvest is when like the school is closed. And this one can be harvested during like
Yeah.
the school year.
And the only other question was how much property was still available and how close? So he was going to reach out to Buildings and Grounds about like, what's the limit about how close to the building are we gonna be able to plant type thing? And-
Yeah, I can weigh in on that too,
Okay.
because I also have a lot of recommendations for not planting trees too close.
Yeah.
And there's different distances that work for different trees, but yeah, I'd love to be able to have that on-site meeting, ideally sometime this month.
So that's what I want, I said to wait until I talk to the commission tonight, and then, either he was gonna reach out to me with what his science teacher said, or I was gonna reach out to him with what the commission brought back. So, I can definitely organize something where, so it's not like, who's this weirdo walking on school property, and he can meet and, do show that area where the pond's gonna be and give that perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
I appreciate an escort when I have to walk on the school properties. Yeah, even with my vest on.
I think that's pretty much it then. So it's like, tying the student aspect in, and then once we have that idea, then I was gonna talk to the curriculum instruction assistant
Yeah.
superintendent. And then we already have the standard letter that we send to get permission to donate the tree. And then we can bring the memorial tree fund in as to the variety of it. So I guess that's about it.
Good.
Any other questions? So site visit.
So for the fruit trees, I sometimes revive too.
Yeah, it's true. So in the case of like Corinne's American persimmon, those need a separate male and female.
Not one, like that, we could see relevant spots now.
Yeah, it's true. There are also some,
But,
but the,
yeah.
we're
it's
just
a
being,
different
we're just being tree nerds. But yeah, there are some cultivars that are like marginally self-fertile. But you're right, Evan, that like there's a lot of fruit trees that do require a separate male and female as well. Anything that I would be recommending, because I want the tree to make fruit if it's going to be in this like demonstration spot and that sort of thing. The one kind of nice thing is that, especially if you're using like native trees, is that they're already out there in the wild anyway. So the pollen dispersal from either wind or like native pollinators can get that pollination need done without necessarily having to plant one of both. But if there is room for two, that's a fun way to look at it also. And then, Teddy, you were just saying Memorial Tree Fund is good for supplying the tree for this year?
Yeah, we always supply a
Great.
tree. Probably having a meeting very soon.
So usually what we have done is that you guys donate like up to $500.
Yes,
And
usually up
so
to
we'll go
$500.
out and we would go out to the nursery, choose the tree, tag the tree.
And then.
Then
we go
Annie
for it.
would notify Annie, she pays for it, and then we go back and pick it up. Okay, all right, so we'll work it the same way. All right,
That's great. So I think that takes care of like the the next steps.
Right, want to talk about the little baby trees handing
Yeah,
Oh, you wanna do
distribution.
yeah, so that can transition into, I think, the last part for the meeting is the tree giveaway. Until I get further direction from our grant administrative bodies, with the federal news around various grants over the last 2 weeks, Kingston's grants that were provided either directly through the USDA or the really large one that we got it last fall through the DEC. That was a pass-through. They're both from the Inflation Reduction Act, which has been the real focus of this grant pausing potential. Even though it was officially rescinded, the administrative bodies for these grants have asked awardees such as Kingston to use extreme caution while making any expenses. And that language is not very directional for what we can and cannot do. I've reached out to them to get more clear instructions, because as you know, that also includes the funding for my position. So we would like to get more direct information around, like, we have these spring projects in place, either the free tree giveaway or our spring tree planting throughout the city had been mostly planned, and we're at the point of getting ready for contracts. So if they give us direction saying, yes, these kind of things are okay for you to do right now, then I can keep moving forward with that. When I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, which may have been before we were recording, as a backup, if I can't get this clarity by in time to plan it for an Arbor Day celebration, I'm also going to have a booth set up at the Kingston Earth Fair. And maybe I can do the tree giveaway stuff there. The one thing to be very specific about if I do a free tree giveaway there is that if it's funded by the grant stuff, it has to be for Kingston residents. It has to be trees going to certain parts of the city.
Sorry, conference room one.
This is conference room 1. Yeah.
I'm right, I'm supposed to get an email showing me.
Are you here for the Conservation Advisory Council meeting? That'll start at 6.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
So it would be less easy to stay within the grant parameters to give away trees at the Earth Fair. So that's another thing to figure out, but that is the complications right now. I've asked for clarity from the grant administrative bodies. It's where we just have to sit right now with,
They probably don't even know what's going on.
Yeah,
that is kind of.
My daughter just is losing her job
Oh,
on
sorry to hear
Thursday.
that.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of just like hold
and
still.
I never even
right
thought about your grant, but that's, she's.
But
we like lots of money to do that, to giveaway for the saplings? Is it lots of money to do this project?
it's not a lot of money, no. It is cheap to do, overall. As far as just, we always have to have a source for where this money comes from. All of the spending around Kingston tree projects for 2025 was focused around grant supply funds. And I'm hoping that this is just during this very chaotic, unclear period of time. And, hopefully before our spring planting window closes, there's clarity on what is, acceptable actions to be expending funds on.
So besides this like public grants, would it be possible for us to ask for corporation
Yes, I was thinking.
sponsorship?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like for the lot, like, the Simsa or, or Walmart or, Home Depot or Lowe's even, like, because like they do have the garden centers, and so I think we might be able to.
The only thing you need to be cautious of is we're not a 501c3. So a lot of those corporations look for that kind of a funding entity to fund, because then they can use that. We're not a registered not-for-profit. And that's sometimes that, just so that they would understand that, so if they give a donation or whatever, it wouldn't be something that you can write off, unfortunately, as a tax write-off at the end of the.
Unless you partner with, yeah, with an.
I was gonna say partner with like.
Yeah,
Bonds,
right,
or
you'd have to
or
do
something
something like, you'd have to, like, use you guys as a pass-through.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's precedent for doing that too.
Yeah, sure.
all right, last thing I just really quickly want to mention, then we're gonna have to sign off. We just got word today that we were awarded another Tree City USA year. So it's 29 years, and this year we also went and obtained the Growth Award again. We've gotten it in the past for, I don't know how many times, but this year, obviously with hiring and the urban forester, that elevated us to a level that we got the award again. So those are two things that we on Arbor Day, we'll probably just, we'll have the flag, that we'll announce that. We'll give the school the flag. We usually give it to whoever hosts. And that's all I have, unless anybody else has anything or any questions.
And you're not worried about those grants disappearing or being held back?
I mean, I can't imagine that they'll disappear in their entirety. I think, going forward, there's gonna be less opportunities, so they'll be more competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, the city's got a lot at stake, a lot of grants out there. I find it hard to believe that, they'll all just be off the table. I mean, they've been awarded, contracts are awarded, there's a good faith kind of thing here. I don't know that the government is prepared to address that to that extent. Yeah, it's insane though. There's crazy things going on.
Well, my daughter thinks she might get her job back because they were awarded a grant for 5 years. She works with famine around the world. And they actually give their data anonymous. They don't send food, but they tell people where there's gonna be food issues like famines. And it's used not just by people sending food, but also by the Security Council and, other organizations that want to know where there's disruption in the world and where the next war might be, and that kind of thing. But they just, it's like they're always on tenterhooks because they're a project funded by grant money. And if they just got 5 years and they're like, oh, shoot. And now it's like, she said, well, Thursday will be furloughed, so
Yeah,
see what that? It's just,
it's very uncertain and disruptive
Yeah.
time.
and a bunch of her friends, of course, are losing their jobs too. They get her at the USAID.
Okay, Amanda,
So,
second? Evan? All in favor? Okay, we're adjourned.